walks into the box that he calls a home. Half a cigarette is lying by the stove. He don't talk to God, so he listens to the news. It tells him he ain't safe and the world is ending soon. He says, why am I so ugly? And why are you? Why do all these lies seem so much closer than the truth? Have I lost the virtue of patience? Did I slip right through the cracks? And if I'm losing my way, how do I get back? My faith has been shaken. We're all out here waiting for someone to save us, but maybe we could be angels. Maybe we.
Welcome back to Humble, my channel. Here we're going to ask questions, or I'm going to ask questions, and if we have people coming along, we'll see what they say. But ask the questions that are often too afraid to say out loud. My name's Jeff, and today we're going to go over something personal to me. It's how I was brought up and just what happened in my life. So this is a story about me being raised Catholic, losing my faith, slowly and imperfectly finding my way back to Christianity. Not as an obligation, not out of fear, but out of making a conscious choice to return. And one of the most unexpected parts of that return, before I really sat down and go, yeah, we need to do this, or I need to do this, was wanting to read the Bible. Not because I had to, but because I actually wanted to. If you've ever walked away from faith or wondered if you could come back in a different way, well, tag along. This one's for you. I grew up in a world where faith wasn't questioned. It was assumed. Catholicism, it shaped everything we did, from Sunday's Mass, prayers that were memorized before I even knew what they meant or understood them, where you learn to sit, stand, kneel, almost building muscle memory. That's what it was. And me being a kid, it felt certain. That was it. God was real. Heaven was a goal. Sin was something to avoid. And if you messed up, confession would reset everything. Or that's what it seemed like. There was comfort and structure. It is a sense that the world made sense even if I didn't fully understand it yet. And, which I didn't. I was young and dumb. And there was a sense of, I say this the right way, of contempt. It felt right. It's the quietness of the church, the rhythm of the prayer, the feeling that your life was some part of something bigger. And it didn't feel, I didn't think of it as belief. It was just the truth. But that didn't always last. For obvious reasons, I'm sitting here now. At some point, questions started to creep in that didn't go away. And I don't know what they were. I mean, I can kind of guess, like, why does God feel distant sometimes? Why do certain teachings feel hard to reconcile? Why does faith feel more like pressure than peace? And the more I thought about them, the harder it became to try and ignore them. And I think it was at that time it felt forced rather than feeling natural. What I mean by that, it was, I was forced to believe in something I didn't know or understand. And that was a little difficult. Mass felt repetitive instead of meaningful. Prayer felt like talking in silence. And guilt, something that used to guide me, felt confusing. Like, why do I feel this way? I don't know. It wasn't a dramatic breaking point. It was like, nope, I'm done. That's it. It was a slow shift, or it slowly faded out. Eventually, I stopped engaging. I stopped going to church regularly. I stopped praying, and I stopped thinking about faith as something that actively shaped my life. And that felt freeing, like I had freedom. No pressure, no constant self-evaluation, no feeling like I was falling short of some invisible standard that I didn't know was out there. Basically, I was a young kid, and the reins were taken off, and I was free to go. But with that came something else. A sense of feeling empty. Because even though I stepped away from faith, I didn't replace it with anything. It was just cut it off and done. So it hadn't replaced what I stepped away from. So meaning, direction, sense of connection beyond myself. And over time, a long time, there were moments where I missed it, because being so young, it was muscle memory. That's what it was. It was doing this on Sunday, getting in your Sunday best, doing all that. And it wasn't out of obligation that I missed it. It was not out of guilt, but a feeling that life had a deeper layer to it. I still can't put my finger on it to this day. So fast forward decades. I'll just leave it at that because I'm a little older. Coming back obviously didn't happen all at once. A thought here and there, a moment of curiosity, a quiet question like, what if there's still something there? Like a feeling you can't shake. And instead of pushing that thought away, I just kind of let it go and played it out to see what would happen. Not with pressure or expectations, just openness and a willingness to let things play out the way that they will. And one of the first things I did was purchase the Bible. And it was just on a whim. And it wasn't out of it wasn't forced. So I consciously wanted to read the Bible. Not because someone told me to, not because I felt guilty of doing it. It was out of curiosity. Because back when I was in Catholicism, I never picked up the Bible. It was always the priest doing the preaching and stuff like that. I never picked it up. So just recently I bought a Bible and now I'm actually reading it. I wanted to understand it for myself without filters, without somebody's perspective on it. So here I am. I'm actually reading it. I mean, slowly, very slowly, honestly, and very confused. But also sometimes very moved. I mean, I haven't gotten far, but there's something speaking to me in it in a way I don't fully understand yet. And that changed something in me. Because for the first time, faith didn't feel like something handed to me. Like, hey, here you go. Have at it. It felt like something I was choosing to engage with. That it was me wanting to engage with it. And that just felt different. Now, coming back into Christianity didn't mean going back to exactly how it was before in Catholicism. I still find myself doing the muscle memory stuff, but I couldn't go back to the way it was. Obviously, being older and stuff like that, I kind of know things now. Too much changed. I've changed, and that's where humility really came in. Letting go of the need to have everything figured out and accepting things I don't understand, and I never will. I won't. Instead of asking, do I agree with everything? The question is, am I willing to seek, to learn, and to stay open is something I'm still working on, and reading the Bible became part of that. Not as a checklist, not as an obligation, but as a way of exploring Now, some passages in it, yes, are challenging. Some didn't make sense right away. Others, quite a few others, felt surprisingly relevant. Like they were speaking into things I hadn't been able to put into words. And that's when it started to click. Slowly, my faith started to feel again. It started to feel real. Not because it was perfect, not because all my doubts disappeared, but because it was honest and it was chosen. So that felt right, to me at least. Faith now looks different than it did when I was younger. Granted, we're in the 2020s, almost into 2030s. Back when I was doing this, I was in the 1970s, 1980s. So it's been a bit. It was less about certainty and more about trust. Less about rules, more about relationships. I still have questions. I mean, if you don't, there's... I really don't know. I still wrestle with things. There's still moments where doubt shows up and anxiety and all that. So, but there's something else with that. It's a willingness to keep showing up and keep doing what I set out to do, and that's rediscover my faith. So basically it's to read the Bible every day. Now, yes, there are quite a few different versions of the Bible. I have the ESV, which is the English Standard Version. It's easier for me to read. I do have a King James Version as well. So I can go back and forth between the two and stuff like that. But I read, I reflect, to pray, even though it's imperfect and I really don't know how to pray. To engage with faith, not because I have to, but because I want to. And that shift from obligation to desire has changed everything. At least in my opinion and my point of view. So with that, if you ever felt disconnected from faith or unsure if you could come back, just know this. Coming back doesn't mean going backwards. It can mean rebuilding, rethinking, rediscovering. There's a lot of different ways that you can reevaluate. And don't force it. You have to make the choice. I did. I had to make the choice. And it's not, and it wasn't an easy one. It can mean opening a Bible, not because you were told to, but because something in you wants to understand it. And maybe that's where it starts. Maybe, hey, let's go pick up a Bible. Let's go do something simple. You don't have to go to church every day. You don't have to do all this, but not with certainty, but with choosing to do something. But with humility, curiosity, and willingness to take that one step forward, even if you don't have the full picture yet, it's worth it. What's it going to cost you? Maybe a few minutes here and there reading the Bible every day. I do it every day, every morning when I get up, before I do anything else. Almost before I do anything else. I mean, I get up, go make coffee, sit down, then I read. Once I'm done reading, then I go get my coffee. So, over the next couple of episodes, we'll dive deeper into everything that has happened with me while losing my faith and all that. But this was just the general overview. So, thank you for watching this episode of Humble. If this meant something to you, feel free to share it with someone you know. Someone might be in the same situation, even you. So with that, be humble and always try and take the next step forward.
See the sunrise through the window. Another day, another chance at life. And the wind is blowing through the willows. Reminds me that we're all just passing by. All I know is this old road ain't changing. So when the hell am I? And Lord knows that my risk it all tonight. So I'm walking